you're looking for the best foods to lose fat. You've had enough of how you look, and you do want to make a start on getting to 10% body fat to get into shape, but you don't know exactly what you need to eat. So if you're looking to get ripped off by the end of the summer or till winter time, because it's almost the end of summer, I don't think you're gonna have time to get to 10% body fat unless if you're already lean, and then you still have time. You can still make a good amount of progress, and you may still have a good amount of time to get to 10% body fat, or just lose this X amount of weight by the end of the summer. So even though it's gonna be, even though summer is almost over, that doesn't mean you shouldn't, you know, start your fat loss journey now. Just because it's summer doesn't mean you should start right after summer, because there's no perfect time to start. And if you're the type of person that wants to make a start now, but is looking for the best foods to get to 10% body fat, to get to elite level condition, then I'm gonna tell you guys my personal five best foods that I've implemented into my cart that has helped me get to 10% body fat. Now, bear in mind that there isn't inherently like best food to lose fat. It's just some foods will just make the whole will just make you more satiated than others, and therefore you're gonna have a it's just gonna make your life easier when it comes to losing fat. Because when it comes to losing fat, we wanna manage hunger as much as possible. We wanna stay full throughout the cut, and therefore this will mean that some foods will be better than others, but they don't guarantee fat loss. Because what guarantees fat loss is you being in a calorie deficit and you doing the other tactical parts of things correctly. But before you get into the tactical parts and before you think what's the best foods for fat loss, you need to understand that first, before you start any fat loss phase, you must fix what goes through your head. You need to fix your mindset first. Because with a poor mindset and with the good tactics, you're still going to struggle to lose fat and get to 10% body fat. Why? Because if you don't get your mindset in check right before you start your cutting journey, and obviously life tests you, and you don't end up passing the test, what's going to happen? You're going to struggle to see progress. If you can't learn to say no, if you can't, control your mind, if you can't program your mind to be saying no to all of these foods that make you eat off plan, then you're just going to struggle to get to 10%. You're going to struggle to get to 10% body fat. Or if not, or other than that, you it will just take you way longer to get there. But if you want to get there super effectively, then you need to fix your mind first, because I promise you, cutting is more of a mental game than a physical game. You lose your mind, you won't get to 10% body fat, trust me. Or you will just end up getting there for longer. So it's very important to get your mindset in check first, fix that first, before you think about, oh, what's the best foods for fat loss? How do I implement this? Or how do I set up my calories like this correctly? You know? So fix your mindset first. That's the most important part when it comes to getting to 10% body fat, especially. But if you've already got your mindset fixed and you're just looking for the best foods to lose fat, then let me break it to you guys down within this video. So, this was just my whole cutting journey. So, this was me like 16 around week one of the cut by the end, and this is me by the end of week 17. So, this was technically like a 60-week cutting journey. And the foods I'm going to list out within this video, this is what has helped me get from around, I'd say like 22, 23% body fat to now 10% body fat. And yeah, I lost like 12.6 kg during the 16-week period. And these are the foods that has helped me get to where I am today. So the first one would be, in my opinion, would be oats. It has to be oats. The reason why I'd say oats is one of the best foods to have for getting to 10% body fat is simply because, firstly, it's a fibrous carb. And what does fiber do? We all know what fiber does. It helps you stay fuller for longer. It helps you to keep you satiated. And secondly, you can make it like in any way. You can make it tasty. You can add honey onto the oats. You can add oat milk onto the oats. You know, there's so many ways of making oats. You know, you don't have to be having plain, boring oats with water and then that's it. You know, you can add more fiber stuff in there as well to make the oats more filling. But in general, though, oats on its own is very satiating. Helps to keep you full, and it's just provides you a good source of energy as well because it's a very due to the nutrients it has within the oats, and it's a very great fibrous carb. We need carbs when it comes to losing fat, trust me, especially fibrous ones, because this is what's going to help you stay fuller for longer within your carb. It's going to help you manage your hunger, and oats is one of the ways to do that. It may be high in calories for you, but honestly, if you just, you know, have other foods, if you just focus on lowering the, quantity amount for the other foods, such as, having 0% fat yogurt instead of full fat yogurt, which is way lower in calories, then it will allow you to give you more space to add oats within your diet. And yeah, like I said, you can make oats in however you want to make it. You can make it as an overnight oats. You can, bake them and you can just, have it heated up in the microwave with oat milk and then just add some berries in there and then you're good to go. You can even have it as a pre-workout meal as well. Yeah, there's just so many ways to be having oats. So that's the first type of food that I would recommend you guys to have, especially when you want to get to 10% body fat. And the second thing would be is potatoes. This can be white, sweet, red, any form of potatoes. It doesn't really matter. But the one I personally would go for is sweet potatoes, simply because it has way more nutrients in it, way more than white potatoes, and I just find that it's a bit more filling than white potatoes. That's what I've realized because it does have a bit more fiber compared to white potatoes, but still white potatoes are still satiating, don't get me wrong. But I just found that sweet potatoes is just way more filling and it just tastes way better. And yeah, especially even when it's air fried as well, like it just tastes way better. And it has more nutrients in it as well, such as vitamin B12, etc. And it has a good amount of fiber in there, unless if you take the skin off. But keep the skin on, guys, trust me, because that's where some of the fiber is going to stay within the sweet potatoes. So keep the skin on whenever you cook your sweet potatoes. So yeah, potatoes in general, very good carb source to have because it's high volume, very low in calories. You can even have a lot of them as well because they're very low in calories. And to be fair, it is quite of a fibrous carb as well. Like it does satiate you a lot. But compared to oats, I feel like oats is way more satiating than potatoes. But still, potatoes are very much lower in calories. You can still have a lot of them as well. And yeah, compared to rice as well, is way more satiating. So yeah, potatoes must have within your diet. Very good carb source to have, especially when you pair it with a protein source and with some veggies as well. Which goes on to the third one, which is mixed veg. This can be broccoli, any sort of mixed veg. It can be frozen mixed veg or broccoli, spinach, onions, cucumbers, tomatoes, stir-fry veggies. But the one I would personally go for is stir-fry veggies and mushrooms. These are the two that I had within my diet, simply because it just saves me time into, chopping like carrots up, chopping bean sprouts, chopping, these other vegetables that are part of the stir-fry mix. So yeah, I'll personally go for stir-fry vegetables and mushrooms because you don't you just simply because it just saves you time into chopping these up, especially you're a busy professional as well. It's very that's something that I would recommend you guys to have. And then yeah, and you don't have to chop them. You can just heat it up in the pan with mushrooms. Obviously, you may need to chop out some mushrooms, but it doesn't really take that long to be chopping up mushrooms compared to chopping up um tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever, like lettuce altogether. But obviously, if you have the time to chop these up, then yeah, you can have them. Yeah, of course. Any sort of vegetable is fine. But for me, the one I had was stir fry vegetables and mushrooms. I just simply because it just tastes way nicer, especially when you heat it up in the pan and you just season it with salt and black pepper. Yeah, it just tastes nicer like that. But yeah, that's the third one, mixed veg. You can't go wrong with it because obviously they're very, very low in calories and you can have the very high volume as well, meaning it'll allow you can literally volume max it within every single meal by having more of these mixed vegetables because obviously you can have a lot of them was they're very low in calories. So it's a very like high volume food to have within your diet. So yeah, that's the third thing. Now the fourth thing would be fruits, pineapples, berries, kiwis, bananas and mangoes. You can go for those ones, but I would only use those as like my pre-workout meal, um, as like a pre-workout meal before going to the gym, simply because they do have a little bit of fiber in it, but it just digests faster and it's very easy to overeat on bananas and mangoes compared to having, pineapples, berries, and they're a bit higher in calories compared to pineapples and berries, kiwis, apples, But obviously, the best fruit is the one that you love. Pick your favorite fruits, but berries, kiwis must be in your list because they have good source of antioxidants in them. Kiwis, obviously, it helps with your sleep quality, and it's a very nutrient dense fruit, one of the most nutrient dense foods out there. So berries and kiwis, I would highly recommend having them within your diet, um, simply because they are very high. They have the most amount of fiber, so therefore it's going to help you to stay fuller for longer, and it just fills you up way more. So yeah, any fruits will do the job. Don't get me wrong, but I would highly, highly recommend having berries and kiwis as part of your fruits within your diet. So fruits, and obviously they they have good natural sugars in them, and therefore it's just going to make cutting weight easier due to the fact that they have natural sugars in them. It will just help satisfy your sweet cravings, so you won't be craving, the high palatable foods such as chocolate, sweets, pizzas, all of these stuff. Now, the fifth and final best food for fat loss, for the moving on to for the protein side, I think for me, in my opinion, it will be 5% fat beef mince rather than chicken breast, simply because, like, chicken breast obviously is a bit lower in calories, and obviously it has way more protein in it compared to beef mince. But beef mince, it just tastes nicer. You know what? I'm gonna just add chicken breast in there, just for as like two of the options, because obviously some people find that chicken breast they it just helps them a lot way more than the cut. Some people like having 5% fat beef mince more because obviously it's nicer and it just goes way more better with potatoes. Just the combo it just tastes so much nicer with the potatoes compared to having chicken breast with potatoes. But both of them are still good in general. I mean, 5% fat beef mince, since it's very low fat and it's way more leaner, it's still very lower in calories, especially compared to like full, a high percentage fat beef mince. But yeah, it still does the job. It still tastes nice, and meaning that you won't, you will just get less bored within your cut, if you eat these foods, and therefore it has a good amount of protein in them, allowing you to stay fuller for longer, which is very important when it comes to cutting. Like I said, especially if you want to get to 10% body fat. So yeah, in my opinion, it would be 5% fat beef mince simply because it just tastes nicer. I still had chicken breast within my diet as well, but I feel like if I had 5% fat beef mince more, my diet would just be a bit more enjoyable because we don't want to just focus on the best foods in terms of like what we in terms of low palatable and like um how satiating it is during a cut. We also want to focus on the taste and what you enjoy more, because at the end of the day, the best foods and the best diet is the best meal plan, the best diet, the best foods is the ones that you enjoy eating. It's the best one that you can stick to. But I find that these five foods are like the ones that I've actually enjoyed having them, even though they're very low palatable. Because we still want to make it low palatable because, like, obviously we want to manage hunger as much as possible. We want to be as satiated as possible during our cut, especially as you get leaner and closer to 10% body fat. So yeah, that's in my opinion. These are the five best foods. Obviously they don't guarantee fat loss, but these are the foods that have personally helped me to, you know, get to 10% body fat simply because they fooled me up a lot. I never really experienced any hunger having all of these foods, and it just made it easier for me to get to 10% body fat in general. I'd highly recommend having these though as part of your diet when it comes to getting to 10% body fat. So yeah, these are the five best foods. And if you want me to help you get to 10% body fat, then comment down below within this video the phrase 10% body fat. Then I'll reply with a link for you to fill in your one-to-one coach application, and then we'll book a call, and yeah, we'll speak up afterwards, and we'll see if you're the right fit to being coached by me. And just to note that the first two people who reply with with the comment 10% body fat, they'll be coached by me for free with no payment. So I'm opening two coaching slots, free ones, for the first two people who comment down 10% body fat within this video. Other than that, thanks for watching as always. The fact that you watched this video is good enough for me. I'll see you lot tomorrow.